Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. Polish-American negotiations concerning a permanent US military base in Poland are moving forward. The Polish Minister of Defence, Mariusz Błaszczak, has just finished another stage of discussions with White House National Security Advisor John Bolton. The next meeting concerning the so-called Fort Trump project is scheduled for mid-November.
Following the meeting with John Bolton, which lasted longer than expected, the Polish Minister of National Defense, Mariusz Błaszczak, said that the negotiations concerning a permanent military base in Poland are moving forward. We talked about the permanent US military presence in Poland, but also about other matters of Polish-American relations and about the INF Treaty and how Russia keeps breaking it. Minister Błaszczak also added that the Polish government will keep its promise to invest $2 billion in the permanent US military presence in Poland. He later stated that if the expenses go up, the country will be ready to cover them. Politicians of the opposition have criticized the Fort Trump project. I'm not so sure if the construction of Fort Trump for a few $1 billion is money well spent, although I won't pretend that moving the project forward and having a large US military presence in Poland wouldn't be a success. On the other hand, members of the currently ruling Law and Justice Party have a totally different opinion. According to Bartosz Kownacki, an MP from the Law and Justice, an American military base in Poland is essential for strengthening Poland's national security in light of the growing Russian threat.
We
know how big a threat Russia is to this part of Central Europe. We saw what happened in Georgia and we can see what is happening in Ukraine. We've seen how aggressive Russia can be, for example towards Great Britain. Today it's clear that this country is not interested in dialogue, so it's important that we show firmness, not even strength, but firmness in our policies.
Swoich priorytetów bezpieczeństwa może wymóc na Rosji zmianę jej polityki.
Minister Mariusz Błaszczak announced that he will continue the talks in Washington, D.C. in mid-November, when he will meet, among others, the American Defense Secretary James Mattis.
The ruling Law and Justice Party did well in the recent local elections, but need a coalition partner in many local and regional assemblies. The leaders of the Polish People's Party and the Democratic Left Alliance have declared that they won't be entering into coalition with Law and Justice on regional level, but the Polish People's Party is open to cooperation with Law and Justice on a local level.
Intensywne negocjacje samorządowe.
The intensive regional government negotiations are still ongoing. Despite the Democratic Left Alliance and the Polish People's Party declaring that there won't be any cooperation with the Law and Justice Party when it comes to ruling in the regional governments, there remains a lot of discussion around the topic.
Myślę, że jest wielka dzisiaj akcja.
I think that the Law and Justice Party is trying to find a way to reach councillors. Some people want to cooperate, some people don't.
Chcemy te rozmowy prowadzić.
We want to hold talks with the Civic Coalition, with the Civic Platform, the Modern Party. We won't enter into coalition in the area of the regional governments with the Law and Justice Party.
W rozmowie ze sobą.
When it comes to the regional governments, I can honestly say that we can consider entering into coalition. But in the area of the local governments, the answer is simple. I don't negotiate with terrorists. My point of view is different, but I respect the opinion of others. I don't meet with leaders, but with members of the Polish People's Party, and I know that they want to enter into coalition with our party.
Do prowadzenia negocjacji w imieniu Prawa I Sprawiedliwości.
Michał Dworczyk will conduct negotiations concerning entering into coalition on behalf of the Law and Justice Party. The party has a lot to offer, for instance, the government investments or positions in the local governments. The 5-year term of office will begin on November 16th.
Państwa czy rządowe inwestycje.
President of the United States, Donald Trump, decided to send a few thousand soldiers to the Mexican border instead of the originally planned 800. Their job is to protect the American side of the border from the uncontrolled flow of migrants from Mexico. A huge migrant caravan is heading towards the southern US border. It already numbers more than 3,000 Central American immigrants. According to many political observers, this issue may have a strong impact on the outcome of the upcoming congressional elections.
The migrant caravan on the way to the US is pushing on despite President Trump's promise to deploy the military at the southern border. Many gang members and some very bad people are mixed into the caravan heading to our southern border. Please go back, you will not be admitted into the United States unless you go through the legal process. This is an invasion of our country and our military is waiting for you. Up to 5,000 soldiers could be stationed at the border by the end of this week. The Central American migrant caravan in Mexico numbers, according to most estimates, around 3,000 people. Meanwhile, 2 more caravans are moving north through Guatemala.
We know border security is national security, and the U.S. military will advance CBP's capability to harden the border. Department of Defense is already and will continue to provide support to CBP to secure the border.
Our message to the organizers and participants of this caravan is simple. As the President and Secretary Nielsen have made clear, we will not allow a large group to enter the United States in an unsafe and unlawful manner. For those that seek to cross the border illegally, we will apprehend them and fully enforce the laws of the United States.
We demand human transport conditions for every person in the caravan. We need to help them. They have walked hundreds of thousand kilometers.
I've heard that they are sending their army to the US border. I also know that they have increased the troop numbers, but it doesn't matter as our path still leads to the US.
According to the Associated Press, if Trump does manage to stop the migrant caravan, it will probably improve the Republican Party's chances in the midterm elections.
The White House press secretary, Sarah Sanders, defended President Donald Trump against media attacks regarding his reaction to the recent Pittsburgh synagogue attack. Some journalists have suggested that the attacker might have been provoked by Trump's right-wing rhetoric.
Sanders argues that all blame should be placed on the perpetrator.
It's the only person responsible for carrying out either of these heinous acts were the individuals who carried them out.
Sanders pointed out how positive President Trump has been toward the Jewish community.
The president cherishes the American Jewish community for everything it stands for and contributes to our country. He adores Jewish Americans as part of his own family. The president is the grandfather of several Jewish grandchildren.
Trump and his wife plans to visit the Pittsburgh synagogue on Tuesday. A group of Jewish leaders wrote in an open letter that Trump is not welcome in Pittsburgh until he openly condemns white nationalism.
I agree with the letter, and even if he denounced it, I wouldn't believe him because he's a liar.
Over 2,500 people attended the synagogue to mourn the 11 victims of Saturday's attack. Also, worshippers of other religions joined the services and the mayor of the city who called for the healing of hatred with love.
There is an evil which happens when you enter into a sacred place, a place where it is believed to be the safe place, the place where peace is, and not where you would ever have to worry or have any fear. We are dealing with that quadruple evil, the darkest hour of our city's history.
According to the Jewish Council for Public Affairs, the attack in Petersburg represents the single most violent incident against Jewish Americans in the history of the United States.
Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather, and then join me after that for Poland Daily Business.